afternoon, good morning, and good evening to anyone and everyone listening to our podcast. Welcome to Speaking with Speakers. I am your host, Miko Inario, and with us this afternoon is a very special guest. This Toastmaster is a Toastmaster I've met in person just recently, the in the last
Yes,
Discord, and
finally.
I finally, after meeting multiple times online, and I just found out in preparation for this episode that he's actually been a Toastmaster for almost 20 years. I really admire people who stay with Toastmasters for a very long time. And I really admire even more people who really take up that mantle to become part of the district trio. Our guest for this afternoon is none other than our incoming District 75 Director, Toastmaster Nino Sepulveda. Let's give him a round of applause. I'll edit some sound. All right.
Thank you to our host this afternoon, Miko. Hello, everybody. And well, just to correct, um, that title, it's still yet because I am currently the program quality director at the moment. I still need to get elected for that post. But yes, I am up for the challenge next term.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. I apologize for the correction. But in District 75, both of our district director and program quality director positions are actually unopposed for this
Yes.
term. So,
Yes.
um, you're not yet the division district director elect, but
Mm,
you definitely will be. All
soon,
right.
soon.
All right, so thank you, Sir Nino. So I just want to read off what you sent me earlier. The list of the couple of um, officerships that you've previously held. And I think this really is a testament to your years in Toastmaster. So you are currently the program quality director of
Yes.
our district. You've also been the club growth director. That was the previous term. You've already been a division director two times. Was this for the same division?
Yes, the same division, Division E, that's in Davao and south of Mindanao area. It covered Zamboanga, Jensan, and partly Tagum City. And yes, I served twice as Division E director in 2010 and 2020,
Oh,
10 decades apart. But
very
we used to call
interesting
it Division
times.
Governor before.
Ah, yes, yes. Yeah, because when Toastmasters, make their updates instead of a governor, it's now a director.
Yes,
What we'll touch on that again later. So I think those are very interesting times to be a division director. They're very different times because I
yes,
know pre pandemic is a very face to face kind of Toastmasters era, and then 2020 came around and really changed up a lot of things. All right. So you've also been an area director prior to being a division director, and you've
yes,
been a club president twice and a vice president education three times.
yes, I did that.
All right. What else did you send me here? All right. So you work for Cebu Pacific Air in the training and development for airport services tourism advocate. Can you let's just start off with that question, Sir Nino. Can you elaborate for all of those who aren't very familiar with what you do? What exactly you do in your job?
Yes, before I worked with that airline for a decade. And after I retired, I am now currently operating a bed and breakfast in Samal Island. It's a hostel, actually. And I am very active with the organizations also, tourism organizations in Samal Island, of course, as a tourism advocate. I'm very active with different groups. And at the same time, I co-chair the Artist Guild in Samal Island as well. This is for the visual artists and all the um, art groups in the island because we'll also be promoting tourism as well with the arts.
All right. Thank you, Sir Nino. I think it really goes to show as well that, well, us as Filipinos, we're not only very industrious, but I think when we are given the space to be creative, we're really there's a lot of talent that we can really find in the Philippines. So that's why I really love our country and also our district. All right. But before we get a bit deeper into it, I know that you're a member currently of two clubs. You're a member of both Davao Pag-asa Toastmasters Club with Toastmaster Tiffany and Toastmaster Jenny, as well as Davao Noontime Toastmasters Club. Is one of these clubs your home club?
Yes, my home club really is Davao Pag-asa, but let me tell you about a little bit of history. I joined Toastmasters in 2005. I joined the Toastmasters Club of Davao, which is we call it the Mother Club. It's the first club in Mindanao. It's just celebrated its 50 something years.
Oh.
And after several years, because of schedule conflict, I decided to move to Davao Pag-asa Toastmasters Club, which is now my home club. And also, my second club is the Davao Noontime Toastmasters Club, which really meets at noontime pre-pandemic. And now we are starting to have an alternate schedule. We have virtual and also another Saturdays, it's noontime meetings again. So I'm happy everything's starting to get back to normal.
Yeah. I think that on that point, since we are coming off of the pandemic era of Toastmasters Club, I found it very funny in the last term because I was actually tapped to be an area director in the previous term, but I didn't think I was ready yet
Oh.
at that point. But there were actually a
Mhm.
couple of people that were saying now is the best time to be an area director because you don't need to visit your clubs physically because everything is virtual. But I think that uh but I did also join Toastmasters in 2018 when everything was still face to face, and I think you can really see the difference between a purely face-to-face meeting, a purely online meeting, and also a hybrid meeting. I think they really bring different perspectives for the different clubs. That it also brought different challenges for of course the club officers. But
Yes.
what specific challenge would you say did you encounter as part of the district trio going through this pandemic time and now going into the next term where a lot of clubs are going back to the full face to face when other clubs are still continuing only online or still staying in hybrid?
So before I take that, I want to get back to your opening statement about being the area director or be a club officer in pandemic days or not. Remember, Nico, it's about our commitment. It's always the best time today if you are called to
Yeah,
be the leader of your club or your area or division, whatever it is. Because remember our Toastmasters promise when called upon to do so.
yeah,
So it is always an opportunity for us to serve when called upon to to serve your club or any position. And pandemic or not, you are the best person for that job.
yeah.
I would say that will be my message to our fellow Toastmasters. Always grab that opportunity Yes, it may come, but not sooner, or it may take you again a longer time to take that post again. So grab, take the challenge while it is offered to you. And serving as part of the district trio for the past 2 years, exactly the pandemic time, it opened a lot of doors for me, not as a Toastmaster only, but also personally, because I gained so many friends. I was able to visit a lot of clubs in Luzon, Visayas. Well, I have you as a friend now because of that pandemic era. And I was also able to club hop to other districts as well and learn from their best practices also. And it really opened a lot of opportunities, not only for me, but also to our uh, fellow Toastmasters who club hop from their club to another. And I think it really served us, pandemic or not. Now, if we're doing hybrid, it's also an opportunity to really meet that person that sometimes some of us are surprised that how big I was in person because I look small in the cam, they say, but what is important is we can now hug or kiss each other and finally have moments together in meetings, not only in meetings, but also um, gimmicks or after meeting gatherings.
Yeah, that's right. I want to touch on that point as well, Sir Nino, because it's very true. You look very thin actually here on Zoom, but I'll put a picture here when we edit this for the video version. Um, you're actually very tall. So how tall are you? How tall are you, sir?
I'm 5'10". Mhm.
Oh my. So that's really tall, especially for a Filipino. So a lot, I think a lot. I mean, I guess based on your reaction, a lot of people had the same comment. But
They were
it's
surprised.
really, but you're right. It's really amazing to really be able to hug and interact with people after a very long time of only being on Zoom. I think a certain bad habit that some people adopted at the time was they said yes to too many meetings, and that led them to really sit down at their computer for maybe longer than a working hour just attending Toastmasters
Yes.
meetings. But I'm good that we don't see a lot of that now anymore, especially since people are going back to face. But something that I did see was a very good product of the transition coming from the pandemic to now. A lot of Toastmasters clubs are really open to having these joint meetings. So there's like now there's a joint meeting or maybe a full joint face to face, maybe a joint meeting which is joint meeting which is hybrid. And I think that that's really one of the essence of Toastmasters, really coming together and learning together. Um, if
Yes.
I'd like to ask Sir Nino, in your nearly 20 years of being a Toastmaster, what is your favorite memory or favorite Toastmaster interaction? So I think you have a deep well to dig from. Maybe you could pick out a couple of highlights in your Toastmaster journey.
I see there are so many things that happened from the time that I joined as a member. It's just that I would like to share to you what is my favorite role, maybe, as a Toastmaster. As a club officer, my favorite is the Vice President for Education. Because as VP Ed, well, you can see I served 3 times because that's the part that I really enjoy. I really get to engage. not only to our members, but at the same time to other clubs as well, because you invite people to be the general evaluator, and at the same time you get to be very creative because you get to think of themes for your meetings in the coming weeks and months as well. And one meeting that we had is we had a meeting entitled Walk in the Park. So we did our meeting outside of our usual meeting room. And that is something we as VPN or as Toastmasters, that's something that we all inject into our meetings to keep our energy or our meetings energy at this high always. That's our role as VPN. And of course, later on, maybe I would do it again as VPN in the future if needed. But of course, we need to groom our young leaders also to take on that position and give them the opportunity and experience to serve our members.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. I actually share in that sentiment. I think for me as well, being the Vice President Education is really a very fulfilling role. And I think the more years that I have in Toastmasters, because after I became the VPE, I became the president and now area director. But it always brings me back to my roots of being the vice president education. That how do we really make, how do we really help those people who became members to really learn the most from Toastmasters?
Yes,
Because, diba,
to engage them.
that's exactly what they came here for. Um,
Yes. Mm,
they really came here to learn, to push themselves, and how do we really get them a good evaluator? How do we give them an
exactly.
experience that will really help them grow? But right
Mm,
before that, sir, before you became a Toastmaster, how did you hear about it? Was it something that a friend of yours invited you to, or did you look it up and then you saw it in the newspaper, then you invited yourself? So what was the story behind your membership in Toastmasters?
just like everyone else, well, mostly I was invited. I was enrolled in my MBA class in one of the universities, and one of my classmates happened to be a Toastmaster, Dr. Belinda Nadella. And she approached me and she invited Nino. We will have a meeting, this and that. It's about Toastmasters. I have no idea what Toastmasters is about. And she said it's just a public speaking thing. I was very shy person before, and I did attend a meeting. And after that, I couldn't help but attend every meeting because it's so much fun and there's so much learning in every meeting. And I have no regrets. My only regret is I joined Toastmasters at a later part of my my life. I should have joined Toastmasters when I was in high school, in YLP maybe, or as a Gavalier, you know.
Yeah, Gavalier, yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's never too late for everybody to
I think
join the club.
that's a sentiment that I've heard actually from a lot of Toastmasters, that I if only I could have started sooner, 'di ba?
Mm,
Because developing speaking, leadership, and really teaching others speaking as well is really a lifelong journey.
mm,
All right. So, to hover off of that question, sir, because you mentioned learning, diba? And since you've been a Toastmaster for a while, surely you really took up the legacy curriculum. And now we've really done all of the training, we've learned about, and now we're fully integrated into pathways. Um, what is your takeaway from the transition from the legacy curriculum, where a lot of older Toastmasters weren't really comfortable with pathways, but now a lot of people are, or well, the newer generation are forced into pathways because they don't have a choice.
mm,
But is there any comment you would give to the Pathways curriculum in comparison to the legacy, or maybe what do you feel about this new phase in the education part of Toastmasters?
Yes, to answer that, the old manuals or the traditional manual that we had before, I would say it worked for that period of time. And just like with any curriculum, we need also to update our curriculum for Toastmasters. And yes, I am one of them who also transitioned to Pathways. At first, well, I receive also a lot of feedback as a leader that this is not really user friendly. There's so many clicks that you need to do to access your material. But yes, eventually, we really have to transition to these things. It's just that the old manual, the 10 basic speeches that we call it, has it's really basic thing.
Yeah,
It's you have the icebreaker as well. You also have the gestures project.
yeah.
You have the research project, which are all incorporated into our pathways manual this time. And it's only, I think it's just a matter of time that everyone will be comfortable with the new system. And AI as well is also updating our pathways, not only limited to 11, but later on, they are looking at adding more things that we can all learn as a Toastmaster.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. I think to touch on a point that you brought up, Toastmasters is really updating
Mhm.
the curriculum regularly. Because I also remember that before the now what is called legacy curriculum, there was also a different, I would say, set of norms that we would earn in the past. Because
Mhm.
that was a time when there would be an advanced Toastmaster, when distinguished Toastmaster would still be the highest, but the
Mhm.
different norms would still be different. So it would be like competent Toastmaster or advanced Toastmaster, and then it evolved into competent communicator and advanced leader bronze, and then now we're in the era of uh, uh, level
Pathways.
4,
Mhm.
effective coaching level 4, engaging humor level 2. So I think it's really a continuous process, and it's I would like for people to know that the curriculum is still in its infancy, I believe, because
Yes.
we're still in the first 5 years of the fully fleshed out pathways. And just like the update that they made in the last year, when they actually added one more project to level 1, and then they moved a level 1 project to level 3, I think that we know that the Toastmasters International is really looking at the curriculum that they're giving to people, and they're still really looking for ways to improve it. And that's exactly why that after every project, they're also asking for our feedback. That
Yes.
did
Mhm.
did we feel like it was appropriate at this level? Did we feel like the material was sufficient? So I think it's really an opportunity for all of us as well, to who are taking up the curriculum, to really be part of that process of really helping Toastmasters as well make the
Yes.
program better.
And speaking of feedback, we all welcome feedback from our members. We
Yeah,
can bring all this feedback to TI as a user of that pathways. So we need each other to update the system that we currently have.
yeah, that's right. All right. So now we actually have a list of questions generated from our fellow Toastmasters and friends. And I don't know, some of them are a bit serious. So I guess this is when we're already gonna get into maybe the questions pertaining to being part of the district trio.
Mm.
All right. So our first question, Maybe I'll read it first and then parang table topics. You can have some time to think about it. So the first question is actually, under your leadership, what unique programs do you plan to undertake to make District 75 greater? Parang spoilers, di ba, for what's coming in the next year. But once again, the question is, under your leadership, what unique programs do you plan to undertake to make District 75 greater this coming term?
Thank you, Nico, for that question. I will not really get into detail of that yet, but I will just mention at least an idea of what we plan to intend, because this is not only my plan, this is also our team's plan for the coming term. For our recognition program, or we have this, for example, this one member, one recruit program that we have, that we give freebies to our members if they recruit new ones. I think it's about, maybe we could pause that one a little bit and introduce another rewards program that is more inclined to build the team, or it's going to be more of a teamwork for them to
Yeah.
achieve or receive the reward. So that is something that I would like to introduce this time. And another, I would like to create also additional position under PQD. It's the pathways chair, because you mentioned about pathways. We
Yes.
will have an additional um, leader for that to support program quality, pathways chair, and DCP chair. That will really seriously look into those things. So that's it for now, because I cannot.
Yes, yes.
We also need to
Yeah.
operate as a district. I mean, operate as a district and then formulate solutions also to some of the observations for the coming term, because these are different times as well, and different times call for different strategies
Mhm.
for a different
Yeah.
situation.
That's right, sir. Because with the one member, one recruit, but also being a recipient myself,
Yes,
sometimes when one person invites a lot of members, maybe it feels very individual for the achievement
individualistic.
instead of it really being the club. But in reality, why did the person say yes? It's not because I invited them, but it's because they went to the club meeting and then they enjoyed what the club had to offer. So it was really something that the club did together. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, it's not
I
really.
want I want a reward that is something shared by the members of the club.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sir Nino, for that.
Mhm.
And I think that on your second answer as well, I think it's also very wise to really put someone in charge of pathways, because we're
Mhm.
getting these questions, we're getting these updates. And most recently, something that I found out, that the speechcraft is also very different now as well, compared
Mhm.
to how we handle speechcraft and youth leadership program in the past. Because I heard that it used to be that we can just share the manual and then we can email Toastmasters for the credit. But now I think they actually overhaul the whole program to make it really fit, like you mentioned as well, really fit to what's going on in these new generations.
Mhm.
Okay, moving on to our second question from our list of questions from our friends. I think this one's a bit different. So I'm not sure if I agree with it, but sige, I'll read the question. What are your plans to encourage old members to attend Toastmasters meetings again? Once again, what are your plans in encouraging old members to attend Toastmasters meetings again?
You know what, Miko? It's also, we have old members that are paying but not attending. We have old members. This is reality, you
Yeah.
know? We also have old members that are not renewing and old members that are no longer active. First, we need to recognize these members for the time and also, of course, the money that they have put up and shared to our organization and the service that, well, most of them perhaps already serve as a leader for their club or their divisions, for example. We need to acknowledge them and maybe we can send them personal letters and invite them again to our club meetings as a speaker, or maybe ask them to give an educational input at the start because I'm sure they have a lot of wisdom to share to our new members this time. And from there, perhaps just keep on inviting that old member, and who knows, we can have them or win them back. But we have also to be very practical, Miko. Our members have long gone, move on from a Toastmaster. Well,
Yeah.
some of them, and it's good to look out also for better or other opportunities as well around our club meetings. And I'm sure there are a lot of young people, old alike, who has not discovered Toastmaster yet. And it is our duty to inform them, to let them know about our organization, and invite them into our meetings.
All right. Thank you, Sir Nino. I think that's a very, I think that's really practical as well. Because I know that sometimes we try to farm from the members that we previously had.
Mm,
But that's true. It is reality that sometimes Toastmasters was a big part of our life, and then for others they move on, and then that I don't think that that's a failure on Toastmasters part,
mm,
because Toastmasters helped them, especially since they most of the time they became a leader. They served their club, their area, maybe their division, and then now they're in a better place. I think that this is
yes,
still a success for Toastmasters, and I really agree with what you mentioned as well, sir. Maybe we don't invite them back to be a member, but maybe we invite them to give a talk, maybe reignite that love
yes,
for Toastmasters. But it's true, sometimes we focus too much on who are those old members. Make them come back to the club instead of
mm,
actually looking at the new frontier of these of the new generations who can also have that opportunity to lead, and they actually haven't heard about Toastmasters yet. So yeah, that's true. So sometimes we'll keep our doors open, always accepting our members, but never be too focused, I guess, on only one demographic, because that's really what Toastmasters is about as well, learning from everyone from all walks of life,
yes.
right?
And
Like
just to add to that, different members have different goals why they join Toastmaster. Some of them just want to finish a path because they are not preoccupied that time, and that's okay. So yeah,
yeah, that's right. So, maybe it's up to the club, maybe it's up to the person, maybe their
mm,
goals evolve. But if they're really happy that, they were finally able, after years of trying, they were finally able to stand in front of a crowd of people and deliver a
yes,
speech,
that's another goal.
that's already success. And
Mm,
just to carry over to that, even in our own lives, success really means something else for everyone. And
true.
we shouldn't be sad when people are done with their commitment, because di
Correct.
ba,
Mm,
Toastmasters, wadi siya pugsanay, we're not forcing anyone,
yes, this is
to
a
stay,
volunteer org.
we're not forcing anyone to leave. It's really volunteerism. So thank you, Sir Nino. All right. kani murag how my this question. I actually made the form anonymous. So I actually don't know who this came from.
Okay.
So here's the question. How can you address the district budget next year? Once again, how can you address the district budget next year? So there's no additional context on what was the issue with the budget, but that's all the question. What can you address, or how can you address the district budget in the coming year? So I guess this one's probably one of the most serious questions.
I really don't know no what that person is trying to ask or a particular issue for the district budget. I think it is presented to us every annually, and we must also look for opportunities and carefully spend that budget. I
Yeah.
mean, plan for it and not really do or create projects that we overspend.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll have a serious problem. It's about planning,
Yeah.
Miko. Plan ahead.
All right. Yeah, I agree with that as well, sir. So I don't know who sent this question. I hope they're okay. But I think that um I think maybe you can also give us insights, sir. I know you weren't a district officer. You weren't part of the district trio. You were part of the district trio now when it's already in pandemic times. Maybe you can give us some insight back into when you were an area director and a division director about how different the just to boomerang off of this question, how different was being an area director at the time? Like, was there? I know that before there was some travel allocation, there was maybe a budget for the contest, but I only know what I've experienced in this year. So maybe you can give us some insight to how it's different in this recent terms and when you were still a division director or an area director.
Mm. You know what, Miko? Speaking of budget, it really depends on the district director, on his strategies on how to really plan for the budget. There are district directors who allocate certain amount of budget for this particular project, and another would really prioritize this much for this area. It it is actually liquid because our budget is also something that we really cannot predict because it is well, this is something that I would like to share. Our budget comes from the membership in our district, so we encourage, of course, members to renew because that would give us enough budget to operate as a district. So it really, I really cannot compare from the time before and now because it
Yeah.
is something personal to the district director, and it's not only the district director but also the team because they have to agree and approve on that specific budget plan for the year. That's why we have the mid-year district council meeting.
Yeah.
That is the purpose of that. And we have the second meeting during our district conference or the discon. We present all these things, the
Yeah.
figures during the conference for everyone to see.
All right. Thank you, Sir Nino. And I think that that's really a wise decision as well. We can't compare really, like we can't
Mm,
concretely compare what was happening 10 years ago, 12 years
mm,
ago to how it is right now because you're right, we are really in a different place. And I guess to the person who asked this question, hopefully you're watching this episode, so there's your answer. You can attend and you can also ask that question as well in our district council meeting. And again,
yes.
it happens twice a year. If you're not an officer of your club, I think you're still free to attend whenever the district council meeting happens. So
Mm.
thank you for your question. And I guess we'll see you in the district council meeting this coming district convention. All right. So we're closing out our questions for the questions from our friends. Our second to the last question, Sir Nino, is what innovative approaches will you bring to this role? Once again, what innovative approaches will you bring to this role? So I'm assuming, of course, it means assuming that the district director role. So what innovative approaches will you bring? Or is there a need for innovative approaches? Sorry, Nino, go ahead.
You know what, Miko? I already shared some of the approaches or practices that I would be doing. But to be honest, at the moment, I am going or interviewing our incoming leaders personally, like this meeting at the moment, because I want to know them in person on a deeper level, not only as division director, for example. I want to know what's going on with their lives. And I want to start with that with our core team. And hopefully, I also would want to extend that to our area directors, schedule a Zoom meeting with them. That's what I would like to recommend to our leaders. Spend more time, not only work, 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 DCP thing, but spend more time with our leaders on a personal level and get to know what are their goals or personal goals for the year, and if possible support that goal. And yes, it's important that we know our leaders, the people that are working for our team as well, not only we see each other during PM meetings.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. But yeah, so it's definitely about, especially as a leader, sometimes we're too rigid. Yeah, we're only here for a certain thing, but true leadership really comes beyond that. When you understand your team, you're also helping them on their own journey.
Mm.
And I appreciate that initiative as well, sir, that you're really taking the time, all of this time to really, maybe hopefully you can achieve that. But I know there's a lot of area directors. There's
I
a lot of
know
area
52 of them.
directors. There's 52. So, well wishes on that journey. I know that's a journey as well to really get to know
Mm.
your team. But I think that that's really what leadership is about. Knowing everyone on a personal level as much as we can. Diba? I mean, unfortunately, we can't be close friends with everybody. But
Yeah.
I think we can try. Right?
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you, Sir Nino. Moving on to our last question. So again, to our submitters of questions, we're not actually reading all of the questions. They have also been filtered. But here's our last question. At the end of next term, so at the end of your term, how do you see District 75? Once again, at the end of your term, how do you see District 75? Or I guess, how do you hope to see District 75?
I hope to see District 75 achieve our goal, which is Smedley Distinguished Toastmaster District. And not only that, but I really hope at the end of our term next year, every Toastmasters goal for every member is realized. Not only to become Distinguished Toastmaster, but also their personal goals. I hope they will all achieve it. With everybody's support, we can make it. And by the way, our district's tagline, well, in mind, I want to share because this year is Seize the Moment. Next year, it is also aligned with our TI's brand, which is where leaders are made. Our theme next year is Lead the Way. We are all leaders and we can all lead the way to achieve our goal as a Toastmaster and also our goal individual goal.
All right. Thank you, Sir Nino, and thank you also for leading the way for all of our Toastmasters in this coming year. Since it is about to be, just in a couple of months, our district convention, what do you find the most interesting thing about our district convention? So I know at this point you've already attended a couple of them. So maybe you can share with us what are you looking forward to, and maybe you also have a what was your favorite discount experience?
There's a lot of conferences that I have attended, but this time this is much sweeter because they say love is sweeter the second time around. This is the second conference that we will be attending after pandemic time. And I am inviting everyone to attend the conference to learn from the sessions. And not only that, also to really communicate and bond with our fellow Toastmasters in District 75. And I heard we have visitors as well from other districts joining the conference. It's going to be a different experience and also opportunity to explore our very own Manila. So please, if you have not registered yet, and I'm sure this is the conference now, you'll be playing this. I'm really thankful that you made that decision to join this conference now that we are all enjoying at Marion. So have a good one, everyone, and enjoy the rest of our conference. Thank you for joining.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. So I guess everyone will also see you there on the district stage. Well, have you been a contestant before, Sir Nino? Was that something that really scratched your itch back in the day, or were you really focused primarily more on the leadership track in Toastmasters?
You know what, Miko? It's one of my agenda that I focus on the leadership track because I don't want to be a contestant. But for the record, I had competed before and I won in the area evaluation speech contest. And I really enjoyed that contest as well because it was my first time to win that contest. But of course, as a leader, I would want to give that opportunity to our members.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. I think that competing is really something that really touches a lot of people, the specific kind of people, the right way. So
Mm.
I think there's really a group of Toastmasters that really love competing. I'm one of them. And I think it's really interesting, sir, because when you're really there, you put yourself out there, and you don't know if you're going to win, but the fact that you were there and you tried your hardest, I think that's what really makes it. That's what makes the victory very sweet. Or
Yes,
not even the victory, the experience itself
yes.
is
And
really,
every Toastmaster should experience speech contest because when you join speech contest, you are expanding yourself
yeah.
at a fast speed. And when you join, I have seen Toastmasters that are quite shy at the beginning, but after joining Toastmasters, they become more eloquent, they become more talkative, no, so to speak. And I really have seen growth of those members who are into speech contests. But like you said, not all are. We have different goals as a member, and some people are inclined to doing these things, and some are doing a different path.
Yeah, that's right. So moving back to being a Toastmaster leader again, Sir Nino. So I guess at this point, you've probably invited a couple of people to come to Toastmasters. You've probably mentored a lot of people yourself. So I guess I think what we would all ask would be, do you have a favorite experience with a mentee? Are you still actively mentoring right now, or are you focused primarily on leading the district or leading the clubs, or are you still actively mentoring a Toastmaster? And what's your favorite experience in mentoring? Or being a mentee as well, if you have
Mm.
a favorite experience as a mentee.
We all have mentors and mentees, no, as a Toastmaster. And I cannot think really for a particular person, but I am happy to say that as a leader, we also mentor. And to this day, I also see a lot of potential of some of our members. And the key to make them a leader like you is to get them involved, to engage them to every activity or a leadership role, for example. We invite them to stand up for their clubs and their divisions, for example, to really hone them and see them and develop them as a mentor if they are also willing. But this is something that they can have to they just have to sign, yes, I'd be your mentee. It's not like that. It's more of a personal level thing. You just follow up with them, check with them how they are doing at their club. Perhaps or maybe some of them they are not happy with their current club, then offer them to club hop and discover which club that might suit them or they may be comfortable. And to answer your questions, yes, I have a lot of people invited already in Toastmasters. I am starting to run out of friends who are non-Toastmasters, Nico. And it's something that I enjoy also because people in Toastmasters are, fun loving, and we are serious in meetings, but we know how to have fun outside our meetings. And I am thankful for my mentors as well and to my friends, personal friends in Toastmasters.
All right, thank you, Sir Nino. I think now we're ending. We're nearing the end
Yeah,
of our the end of our interview. But something that I'd actually, but of course we are also friends on Facebook as well. Something that I find very interesting are actually the paintings that you post from time to time. So maybe to end on a lighter note, but of course, mentoring and leading is really an amazing part of a Toastmasters journey. But maybe we can touch on your other hobbies as well, your painting, because I know there was also one time that I think one of your paintings was even raffled in a in a contest, or what was that, the last discon? I think they took one of your paintings and then they raffled it.
yes, yes. I shared one of my works in the conference in Cebu. Who knows, in Manila, I might have another work being raffled.
Yeah, so to our listeners, our viewers, heads up for this coming district convention. Maybe there's going to be another painting that's going to be up for grabs, but not for buying, just for the
Mm.
lucky person who will accept that painting.
It's a hobby that actually, sorry, it's a hobby actually that I started in 2016. And now in Davao, we have this group called Toastmasters Art, TM Artists, where one of our requirements to become a member, one has to be an active Toastmaster member. So, yes, that's one of the agendas. So, to be a member of Toastmasters and become part of the TM artist if you are into painting. But this is only in Davao. And now we're very active because every month we do have a project. We call it Project Reveal. So that forces us to really come up with a project every month. Just like in Toastmasters, we
Yeah.
have to keep on doing projects. So we will eventually excel at. uh, what we are doing right now.
Is there a specific medium that they need to use, sir? Like, is it necessarily painting
No,
or
not at all. It has
sculpting?
to, yeah, it has to be a painting, well, of your choice, a medium of your choice. If you are into pencils, you can do pencils. If you are into watercolor, you can do watercolor. But we set a theme for a particular month. For example, next month we will paint flowers, for example, or water. So it's about water. One can paint a beach or waterfall or a glass of water, anything. So that keeps us also from doing projects aside from our Toastmastering.
I think it's also another way to express ourselves. I know that there's that
Mm,
quote which is the eyes are the window into the soul, but I believe that our speech is the window into our heart as Toastmasters. But another way
mm,
to express ourselves is also through painting. So I think that that's also really amazing, and it's also another opportunity for speech projects as well. You can talk about your journey in
mm.
painting, but it's only about painting, sir. So there's no sculpting. Maybe their medium is writing. This one is specifically about painting.
Not yet. This is a painting group.
Yes, okay.
Specifically. Mm.
Yeah, because I guess if you want to be a writer, our listeners, you can always visit, what was that Toastmasters Club?
Pinoy Writers,
Yeah, Pinoy
Toastmasters Club.
Writers
They
Toastmasters
have a
Club.
club for
Right.
that. Or maybe you can start one in Cebu as well. A podcast group.
A
Mm.
podcast group. I was actually thinking about, but it's still just a thought, Sir Nino. But I think there's a lot of maybe advanced. I would probably categorize them as already advanced Toastmasters. Maybe not in terms of years, huh? But
Mm.
in terms of skills. So
Yeah.
I think maybe it's about time that between Cebu and Lapu-Lapu, because that's where Division C and Division I belong. Maybe it's
Mm.
about time that there's already going to be an advanced Toastmasters club. But
Yes.
we're still
Mm.
we're still looking into it because I actually haven't been to Sulu Advance yet, and
Have you visited them?
I haven't yet. I'm very excited
Oh,
to visit.
shout out to Sulu Toastmasters Club. Invite Toastmaster Nico there.
I've already been invited. Because I mean I think you're familiar with it, sir. That we need to
Mm.
really be booked ahead of time. It's not like before when when it was only face to face.
No, they're still online, meeting online. They meet Wednesdays. Mm.
Yes, yes. I mean, sir, nga,
Mm.
when it was still face to face, our schedules aren't as full. I believe,
Yes,
compared
yes.
to now, because we really need to plot ahead. How many days ahead
Mm.
are we full? Because they actually fall in conflict with one of the clubs that I'm mentoring. That's why
Yes.
I need to really plot it in advance, because I need to ask permission from my club that I won't be there for that meeting. But I'm excited. I'm excited to visit both of those clubs. Actually, I think I only visited briefly to Writers, but I'm also really excited to be there because I think that's
Mm.
one of the endeavors I want to pursue eventually. Not currently, but eventually.
Yeah, get inspiration from them.
Yeah, that's right. But speaking on writing, because I know that leaders are also readers. Maybe what is a book that you would recommend anyone, Toastmasters or not, to read? I know that we probably go through a lot of books in our life. So is there any particular book that stood out for you, or maybe a book of the year for you in 2020, the past year?
For me, for last year, I would recommend The Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. Yeah, that's this is something spiritual, and there are a lot of realizations on a personal level after reading that book, and I would recommend it to my friends or to anyone.
All right. So the power of now. I actually have that on my reading list as well, but I
Yeah.
haven't read it yet. I'm currently reading. Or what's your perspective on this, Sir Nino? Are you more of you're really a physical reader, or are you a Kindler? You use a Kindle or an audiobook like use Audible? What medium do you usually use?
I am old school. I have the books, but if you are giving away Kindle, I'd love to receive.
Pohon, sir, pohon.
Please, please, I'll send you my address.
Actually, I find it really, I really can't read on my phone, but I heard that a Kindle is different because it actually looks like paper, but I haven't
It
really
is.
bought
It
one.
looks like paper.
Hmm. I think that I usually I use the audiobooks more. Shout out to Audible, but of course I'm not sponsored. I like the audiobooks a bit more because I can make the time I'm driving more efficient, or 'di ba, driving is usually a big waste of time.
Mm,
At least now when you're listening to something, instead of just listening to music, now you can learn something on the way.
mm.
Right now I'm listening to 101 essays that will change your will that will change the way that you think.
Wow.
It's been an interesting book so far. I think that there's a lot of personal realizations as well. But I think this book, I don't know if all of the essays are by one person or
Mm,
it's a compilation of essays. I haven't dug into the book that deeply. But I think that it's a series of essays which really are all about thought provoking questions.
ideas, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, it's been a wonderful afternoon, Sir Nino. I think we're just about at our 1 hour mark.
Yeah, it's been an hour.
It's a surprise
Nice
because
chatting with
it
you.
went by so fast. But sayang, we weren't able to touch more about gardening because I think that's something we actually share. I really love my peace lilies as well. But
Yeah, we
there's
can
always
schedule we can
we'll schedule
schedule another
another
call
one. Okay.
because actually I have another meeting in yeah 5 o'clock also.
All right. So that's it for our interview for this afternoon. I'd like to thank you, Sir Nino, for really making the time. Now we're running a bit longer, just a couple of minutes. And we're looking forward to this coming year. So thank you, Sir Nino, for gracing us. And for all of us, you can meet Sir Nino in person or online. Just chat him or meet him at the district convention this coming April. So once again,
Thank you.
thank you, Sir Nino.
Thank you, Miko, for facilitating this. I'm doing this for our district and for doing the service for our members by interviewing everyone who is taking on the leadership positions soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sir Nino. We'll see you in the next episode.
See you in Manila.
See you, sir. See you, sir. Thank you, sir.